Hey everyone, it's Jen Fontanella, your money coach, and I'm committed to helping entrepreneurial women take control of their money so they gain clarity, hope, and confidence. Yesterday I was on an interview and it was revolving things with relationships, money matters, and most of all, the subject matter of communication or lack thereof. And I wanted to come on here and talk about those things. And one of the questions was, what are some of the top challenges that couples face when it comes to their money? So I have 5 of them and I want to quickly go over them. So the first one is financial infidelity. And that's sometimes a word that some people have never heard of, but I'm sure you are very familiar with it once I describe it to you. So financial infidelity is basically dishonesty when it comes to money issues. And this is definitely a relationship killer, as you can quite imagine. So let me give you some examples. That could be lying about purchases, hiding them. So you might have seen during Black Friday, Christmas time, whenever there's a big shopping holiday, you see people post, let's say, oh, I went shopping, don't tell my husband, or they hide the purchases in their trunk of their car. And sometimes it's all in fun, it's all in jokes, but there are people that are probably seriously doing it and really not revealing that they bought those items. Now, I'm not saying don't buy things, but when it comes to a point when you're not taking care of other priorities and bills and things like that, and then the spending becomes a big habit and a very detrimental one to your overall financial plan, now we have some issues. And the fact that you're lying about it, that isn't a good thing. You also could be dishonest about your assets. Maybe you have some, hidden accounts that your partner doesn't know about. That's another form of financial infidelity. Here's another big one, gambling. I had a friend, a very good friend, who had to actually separate from her partner because she found out that she had a gambling addiction and it racked up about $40,000 in debt. So, she unfortunately found out because family members were letting her know that, hey, I'm getting phone calls about borrowing money. And can you imagine borrowing money? It's one thing when you need food and utilities and things like that. But when it's to cover a gambling addiction, that's a pretty serious issue right there. And another one is about credit card debt. So when you're hiding that you have racked up credit card debt from your partner, this could be a really, really big potential problem, because imagine if you wanted to buy a house. Down the road, you have to obviously qualify through your credit. Now, if you don't know that your partner has bad credit, can you imagine what happens if you find out at the wrong time, right before you're trying to find out, okay, are we going to get the loan? So those are examples of financial infidelity. And in fact, there was a study with 1,000 individuals who were in committed relationships, and these people had admitted that at least 71% had committed financial infidelity at least once. So those are the stats. The second one is being too controlling or judgmental. Money is already a very sensitive topic. So can you imagine a partner who wants to be controlling or judgmental? You are most likely not going to want to talk to that person or have discussions. So a lot of times, we're encouraging people to have discussions about money. Talk about what's going on in your financial household. Talk about what plans and things you have. But if you are somebody, or maybe you're in a relationship with somebody who's very controlling or judgmental, you're not going to want to sit there at the table and talk about your dreams and goals, because you're probably already on the defense. You're probably already having that passive aggressive feeling, and there's a lot of resentment already in the atmosphere. So you're not going to be encouraged to talk. So the problem is, when you are controlling or judgmental, this is not going to lead to open conversations. In fact, you're going to see the body language. People are very closed off. You're going to see that face. And then what's going to happen? The other person's going to be like, yeah, well, forget it. Like, I don't even know why we're meeting. And so nobody wants to be, told what to do. This isn't about, sometimes partners will feel like, gosh, I'm not even allowed to buy XYZ because the other person is making them feel like they can't make their own purchasing decisions. In fact, 65% of men and 47% of women have wanted to make a purchase, but their partner, wouldn't allow it. And so this person feels disrespected. This person feels like, gosh, am I not an adult? Am I 5 that I have to get permission? By the same token, I'm not saying let your partner go out there and buy and spend whatever they want. That's not what I'm saying. It was to the point of careless spending, but this has to be looked at in an overall big picture, our priorities being taken care of. So just be aware if you are controlling or judgmental, because that's the second problem. The third one is not talking about finances on a regular basis. Now, in my book, I talk about having money dates. And the reason why it's so important to have these dates or these meetings is to do a quick checkup. Hey, what's going on? Do we have any upcoming bills? Do the kids need anything? Do you have any upcoming business trips or things like that? Because you need to know what is going on. Think about it at your own jobs. Especially right now, some of you are working remotely. You still have these meetings. You're on Zoom or whatever platform you're using, and you still check in. Can you imagine if you only had a meeting once a year? How much would get done? So why isn't it that same skill set as applied to your financial household? Have meetings with your partner and talk about what is being spent. What do we need to save for? Is there anything coming up that we need to be aware of? Are we having enough having enough set aside so that we are replenishing our emergency fund if that's the situation? So we need to make sure that we're talking about finances on a regular basis. And my suggestion is at least once a week. Some people might want it monthly, quarterly, but I really suggest having at least once a week, even if it's a really quick meeting, to just find out, hey, what's going on? Are we good? Always thinking about, are we on the same page? None of this surprise where like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was happening, or I didn't know you felt that way, because we're just not communicating often enough. The fourth one is debt. This should probably be no surprise to you. This one always leads to more fights and more arguments. And actually, couples that are dealing with debt tend to have more and other financial issues to be dealing with. And as you can see, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of resentment, there's also a lot of communication that is very poor. It kind of goes back to the other things, especially number 2, when I talked about being controlling or judgmental. Especially if there's one partner who is doing the spending, the one that seems to be more in control could be the one that might make the other person feel, gosh, they speak to me in a condescending way. Why do you have to buy all that stuff? How come you can't get it together? I mean, that is so not encouraging. But, I'm not trying to point fingers here, but I just want you to see that when there is debt involved and you and your partner are not on the same page, that is another thing that leads to couples fighting. And then finally, number 5 is failing to set financial goals. This one is also a very important one, because if you just get caught up in like, we're just paying bills, we're just trying to get by, there is no plan in place. We're just kind of aimlessly wandering and just surviving. There's not this idea of dreaming. We're not even thriving. We're just kind of letting life happen to us. And so that takes a toll on the relationship. And then you can see as everything starts to progress, that can also cause more fights. This can cause, you just start to lose, you just start to lose it. You start to fall out of love or whatnot, because you're not dreaming as a couple anymore, because those goals aren't being set. When was the last time you and your partner were able to take a family trip, or maybe a romantic getaway or something like that? And if you know how it goes, if you plan for nothing, you aim for nothing, that's exactly what you're going to get. So if you're not setting these dreams and these goals, especially the ones that have to be surrounding the finances and the financial planning that goes behind trying to achieve these goals, you're not getting anywhere. And so that's very, very frustrating. So you definitely need to think about, what are those short-term goals, those mid-term goals, and those long-term goals. So just to recap, the 5 top challenges couples have about money that I've seen: 1, financial infidelity. I gave you many examples of those. 2, being too controlling and judgmental. 3, not talking about finances regularly and having money dates. 4 is debt. And the last one, 5, is not setting financial goals. So if you have any questions, any comments, if you agree, if there's any that you have seen or run into, I'd love to see it. Please drop that in the comments. If you have any questions, you can also visit my book site, www.dobeforeido.com. You can get a copy over there, or you can also DM me if you want to have a more in-depth conversation about how I can help you get through these issues and these challenges that other couples face. So with that, thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend, and talk to you later. Bye.